We got the keys to the kingdom. We gonna unlock the things from the Lord. We got the keys to the kingdom. We gonna unlock the things from the Lord. There's joy in the kingdom. Hey, I know it is. There's peace in the kingdom. Hey, yes it is. We got the keys to the kingdom. Yes we do, I know we do. We gonna unlock the things from the Lord. We got the keys to the kingdom. Yes we do, I know we do. We gonna unlock the things from the Lord. No matter what you're going through, Jesus got the keys for you. You can bind things on earth, it shall be bound in heaven. You can loose things on earth, it shall be loose in heaven. We will. We got the keys to the kingdom. Yes, we do. I know we do. We gonna unlock the things from the Lord. Ever you may. We got the keys to the kingdom. Ever you may. We gonna unlock the things from the Lord. Keys to the kingdom. He had them for me and you. Keys to the kingdom, I know he do. We got the keys to the kingdom. Yes, we do, I know we do. We gonna unlock the things from the Lord. Ever you we got the keys to the kingdom. Joy, peace. We gonna unlock the things from the Lord. Ever you we got the keys to the kingdom. Yes, we do. I know we gonna unlock the things from the Lord. Peace. We got the keys to the kingdom. Yes, we do. I know we gonna unlock the things from the Lord. Ever you may the keys to the kingdom. Yes, we do. I know we gonna unlock the things from the Lord. Ever you may the keys to the kingdom. We gonna unlock the things from the Lord.
Welcome everybody. How y'all doing tonight? This is Dr. David King, Kingdom Citizens of Wisconsin show. We are welcoming you guys, and it is Think About It Tuesday. Hey, Kelly, you made it. Think About It Tuesday, and we got a lot to talk about. Because it's Think About It Tuesday, so we get to do a free for all and say some things and get some folks upset. So let's see what we want to start off with, because I know what I want to start off with. There was a terrible joke, a very terrible joke that happened to me today. And it came from within my own camp. Y'all come on in and let us know what part of Wisconsin you are checking in at. Let us know where you're coming in. So I get this in this inbox, and the person says, we on our way home, and we are coming past Johnson Creek, and the pine cone is closed. And they said the pine cone Okay, Frank, I'll play you a song on the piano in a minute. so, um, so Chippewa Falls. Say your name so I know who's in Chippewa. So we so they're gonna tell me that the pine cone was closed. They had closed down and said no more cookies for me. Hey Liz, good to have you with me tonight. And so, you know, for a minute, I took a deep breath, like I just lost my best friend, because the pine cone. But then they said, I'm just joking. When it comes to cookies, desserts, my family, they don't make jokes about something like that, especially my cookies and my pine cone. Don't do a brother like that and mess his head up telling him the pine cone is shut down. That is a terrible joke. And I told her I was going to start the show with that joke. So, um, so we got a lot to discuss tonight. You guys can call in uh, and let us know uh, what's on your mind tonight, and we can talk about some things because it's a lot we need to talk about, a lot. And I think I'm going to start with what I heard today in Wauwatosa. One school board member, and Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, but one school board member wanted to vote against the curriculum in Wauwatosa School Board, uh, and not one other school board member was second the motion. So the Wauwatosa School Board has decided that they're not listening to anybody, that they're just going to do what they feel that they have the right to do with our children. And that's every school board that's doing it. I thank God for the Manitowoc School Board, not Manitowoc. Oh, yeah, Manitowoc School Board. They got a lot of conservatives, God-fearing people on a school board. So they're trying to change some things. So I take my hat off to them and what they're trying to do. But listen, people, let's get something straight right now, and neither party is going to save you. You got to get up and save yourself. Neither party is going to do it. Neither party is focused on it. Neither party wants to be about it. Neither party is really for the children. And I know we say it all the time, and we think one side is going to do it and the other side ain't going to do it. It's not going to get done until you make up your mind to get off the seat of do nothing and get into the fight. We have to get into this fight. We have to put some skin in the game, because it's not going to happen. Okay, let me see what happened. Give a shout out to Cudahy football team. I heard that they had a forfeit, that had to forfeit the rest of the year due to injuries. Sucks for players and students. All right, we give a shout out to Cudahy School football team. We're praying for the healing of those that have been injured. We want you guys to keep your chin up, stay encouraged. But we want to pray for you guys, those that are hurt, the students. I know it sucks. I played, and I know we don't like forfeiting anything. So my hat goes out to you guys. We're praying for you guys. We're praying for healing for you guys. So if anybody want to call in, you can call in at 414-585-9511. But you guys, we have to really get involved and do some things. Now, I had lunch with someone that is part of the Republican Party, and they are part of the uh, they're a paid member of the party, and we was having a conversation. And you know what's sad is that, and this is why I say we got to get off our tush and fight, because ain't nobody gonna solve it for us. Ain't nobody gonna fix it. But the head of the African American Council has been supporting Democrats and liberals more than he's supporting the African Americans that's on the Republican side. And that comes from not just one person. Numbers of people have come to me and talked to me about it, asked me how I feel about it. But it's not a surprise to me, because both sides, if you don't sound like them, you're an outsider. If you don't stand up for what they stand up for, you're an outsider. If you don't do what they want done, you're an outsider. This is why we, the people, has to rise up. But we have to rise up in a way that we're going to get things done for not just our children, for the economy, the safety. I mean, if we don't invest in our own communities, and we don't spend time in our own community, and if we don't go out and help our own communities, ain't nobody coming. The cavalry is not coming. It's not going to come. One individual is not going to save us. Not one going to save us. There's only one Savior, and that's Jesus Christ himself. Nobody is going to save us. We have to get up and we have to save ourselves. We have to get up and we got to invest our time, our talent, and sometimes our resources to get things done that we need done in our communities. And we have to begin to invest in things that will better everybody. And so when we look at everything that's going on, and when you begin to look at how things is today, and if we look at it right now, we have crime, we have suicide, we have sex trafficking, we have economic crisis, we have illiteracy crisis, we have people that's running around doing things that they feel they feel they need to do to save the country. But if we're not starting at home, charity starts at home. So if we're not starting in our own backyard, if we're not addressing things that we need to address in our own backyard, and we're allowing things to continue to get worse, then we're no better than those that's doing it. And so when we look at, for example, everybody that lives in Wauwatosa that have a problem with the curriculum in Wauwatosa should have been there at that school board meeting. And even though we got people coming outside of Wauwatosa to do something, they only can do so much. They can't do a lot until you invest in it yourself. And so when we start a fight, I mean, we can fight. We can. It can be a state fight because everybody got something. But then when it comes local, when it becomes the local fight, the local people has to fight. The local people has to get involved. The local churches has to get involved. Church by church has to get involved. And you cannot take a side when you're trying to correct things. You cannot take a side. You cannot say Republican. You cannot say Democrat, because if you take a side, then you compromising the things that God told us not to compromise, and that's our value. Sometimes your moral compass goes a little to the left or a little to the right, and so when that happens, then you get contaminated, and when you start to get contaminated, I give you an example. We got all these patriot groups, right? We got patriots groups, we got Tea Party groups, um, and you got on both sides, you got people on both sides, they got their little groups, right? But if you pay attention, those groups only lean to one side. They're not in the middle. So they can't be effective like they want to be because they won't come to the middle. What they do is they lean into push one side or the other. But if you're going to be a true patriot, you got to be there representing we the people, not a party, not a side. Let me tell y'all what happened. And this is the part that I love. At the book signing on Saturday, you had some of everybody there. You had liberals, people that lean to the left. You had people that lean to the right. You had people that didn't lean anywhere. That was there, and the conversation that was going on, and everybody agreed. We have to really try to come into the middle. Let's see. So about what? Okay. So these are the now where's this? Oh, Greendale. These are the things that let me turn my hey Frank, if you want to call in, Frank, 414-585-9511. 414-585-9511. These are the things that we have to do, because here's the thing. If the foundation is cracked, you can't build. That's bottom line. If the foundation itself is cracked, you can't build. And so what end up happening is that we have so much going on, so much going on that the foundation is not where it ought to be. So when we got all of these groups, right, and these groups mean well and they want to do right and they want to make sure things are together, but if you're a group and you're leaning one way or the other, then you're not going to get anything solved, because you're only going to push one agenda, but that agenda is really not going to push the agenda that we're trying to push. So if we have the people coming together and saying, you know what, enough is enough, and this is what it is that we need to do, and we need to stand up and we need to fight for what we believe in as the people of Wisconsin, the people of Milwaukee need to stand up and fight. We was in the barbershop and we was having a conversation, and they was telling us that there was a school that was celebrating gender day and and we was like, what? And a lot of the parents didn't even know. So there was a father who went to the school to check on his son who was in K-5, and when the father got there, his son was in a dress. They had put his son in a dress. and ask them, how do you feel wearing this dress? K5. K5. So these fights got to start at home. We need to educate our young people, tell them it's time to go to work. We got to keep the economy going. So they need to go back to work. We need to help them get a job. If they need help filling out applications, whatever they need, we need to be there to help them to strengthen our individual community. Because if we don't start strengthening our own community, if we don't start fighting for safety of our own community, if we don't start fighting for better housing for people in our own community, then what are we fighting for? Fighting to see who can have power, fighting to see who we can put in office so they can do nothing for us. I mean, look at what we got right now. Look, we have a man that destroyed the education system is now the governor. We have a man who made a law against plastic straws, now the mayor of Milwaukee. I mean, we have some crazy stuff going on, and we're putting crazy people in office. So you are your own savior. You are the ones that's going to be able to make things better. You are the ones that's going to be able to change this. If you're sick and tired of not having a safe city, then you got to get up. You have to get up and start to do something. God didn't give anybody the spirit of fear, but he gave them the spirit of love, power, and a sound mind. God didn't give us fear. So we have to remove the fear out of the way and operate in our faith and get up and go and do some things that needs to be done in each and every community in the state of Wisconsin. And we know if Milwaukee get healed, that's a burden off the state. We already know that. But it's going to take people to invest in their own community. In their own community. There should be a campaign on peace in your own community. There should be a united campaign in your own community about education, about our children, about family, traditional family. That's why I don't have a problem doing weddings, and I don't even charge anybody to do it. Anytime there's a traditional wedding, a man and a woman, I do that wedding for free because we need more traditional families out here. We need our children to see what's normal, not what's not normal, but what's normal, what's natural. Okay, natural is a man and a woman. That's natural. That's what the Bible says natural is. Natural is when a man and a woman, not two men, not two women, not a man who's confused, not a child who's confused, but a man and a woman. That is what the Bible says natural. Really, let's look at it. Let's go to, I'll go into I got it. So people don't say you ain't got no Bible. Here it is. I got it. So let's go to Romans chapter 1. Let's go to Romans chapter 1. Let's look at this. Because all of this, guys, all of this is because there's no God. All of this is because there's no God. When the founding fathers and those that helped start this nation, those that helped write the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, some was believers and some was not. But those that was believers influenced those that was not. And that's why they structured it with the word of God in it so that people will understand the moral values. That's why I understand now that on the Cowboy, when I used to watch Westerns, if you call somebody a liar or if you call somebody a cheat, it was a gunfight because even though they was crooked, their reputation meant a lot. So there was a gunshot, they were shooting one another just because you called them a lie. In other words, you question their character. So they had a problem with that. So let's go in here for a second. Okay, so if we go to verse 25 in Romans, well, let's go to verse 24 in Romans chapter 1. In Romans chapter 1, verse 24, it says, and I'm going to read it out Amplified version. It says, Therefore God gave them up in their lust for their own hearts to sexual impurity, to the dishonoring of their bodies among themselves, because they exchanged the truth of God for a lie, and worship and serve the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this reason, God gave them over and abandoned them to vile affliction and degrading passion. For their women exchanged their natural functions for the unnatural. So women had started to change their natural function, their natural way of being with a man. They changed it to be with a woman. So they took what was natural and made it unnatural. So God is calling this unnatural. Look at 27. And the man also turned from natural relations with women and were set ablaze, burning out, consumed with lust for one another. Men committing shameful acts with men and suffering in their own bodies and personalities. So here it is. He's saying, listen, you got women that went from natural to unnatural. You got men that went from natural to unnatural. So in other words, we walked away from the truth. We walked away from what God has ordained. We have walked away from it. And not only did we walk away from it, we turned a blind eye to it because we're saying it's not in my house. And so we don't care. Anybody can do whatever they want to do. But here's the thing. If you're standing for God and you say you belong to God and you say you are with God, you have to stand for what God stands for. You can't just stand for anything. And this is why we're in the mess that we're in. We don't have people standing up. Jesus said, if you ashamed of me and my word before man, then I am ashamed of you before my Father. So what is he saying? Now, ain't nobody ashamed to say I'm a believer. Nobody ashamed to say I'm a Christian. But what they are ashamed to stand on his word, stand on that word that says you can't do certain things. Stand on that word that says you should have no other God before me. Stand on that word that says you cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve God and money. And most of us, it's about money, it's about power, and it's not about God. So we have walked away from the things of God. And this is why we are in the mess that we are in. This is why we don't have what we need to have right now. This is why it's so dark in our state right now. This is why it's so dark in our cities and in our communities, is because we won't stand up for righteousness. Because we won't stand up for what God wants us to stand up for. For we won't say anything. We are keeping silent when we ain't got no business keeping silent. It is our duty to speak out against unrighteousness. It is our duty to speak out against injustice. It is our duty. But do we speak out against it? No, because no matter where we at, in our walk with God, and no matter where we at politically, no matter if our side is doing it, we don't want to say nothing wrong. If their side doing it, we want to scream and shout. We want to throw pitchforks. But when our side, if you can't hold our side, as they say, our side, what do you mean our side? Whatever side is your side. Whatever side is your side. I don't have a side. I'm in the middle. But whatever side is your side, whatever side is your side, and if you can't hold your side accountable, then you're just as guilty. And what we're failing to do is hold each other accountable. The thing that we're failing to do is standing up for what's right. The thing that we're failing to do is challenging everybody to do the right thing. Everybody, not just one side, everybody. Man, that coffee's good. And so when we start to look at, and the things that everybody, we all have different agendas that we're pushing. We're pushing election integrity. We're trying to get rid of the machines. You got transgender in our school, sexual education in our school. We're trying to get rid of that. You got some that's worried about finance. You get rid of that. You got some that's losing their job because they're being forced to take the carrot. And so, you got some fighting that. And the thing about it is, some stuff you don't have to fight. Some stuff you just have to come away from. We have doctors, we have nurses, we have cooks, we have CNAs, we have housekeeping. We have enough people who don't want the carrot to set up our own medical clinic. You have master herbalists, you have holistic doctors, you have it all. So you can have a 2-in-1. Pepsi Cola owns Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and KFC. And sometimes you can go into a restaurant and you can get 2-in-1. You can get KFC and Taco Bell. You can get Pizza Hut, Taco Bell. You can get Pizza Hut, KFC. So you can do a 2-in-1. So why don't we come together and do a 2-in-1? You can do medical and holistic in the same building. Same building. We have so much that we can do. So much that we can do. We don't have to keep our children. If we come together, we don't have to keep our children in public education. That's why we're on the verge of starting setting up a school where our kids are not being forced not to learn, but they will have an opportunity to have a great education. See, if you find the problem, I charge you to the solution. You have to come up with the solution. You can't just complain all the time. And don't give me that, well, I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm not educated enough. No, you are exactly enough to help in this fight. You are exactly enough to come together and get things done for the betterment of everybody. We can get it done. There's no way you can just say you cannot contribute. You are on earth to contribute. God put you on earth to bring to be a solution to a problem that's already here on earth. That's why you here. That's why you on earth now, to be that solving problem, not to be a complainer or a whiner, but to solve the problem. It's already on the inside of you. It's inside of all of us. And so we can't just sit around and complain, act like there's nothing we can't do. There's a lot you can do. There's a lot you can do. There's a lot you can do with your elected officials. There's a lot you can do. You can call them up. They cannot say they don't want to meet with you. They cannot say they don't want to meet with you. Find out if they bonded. And if they don't meet with you, sue their bonds. Sue their bonds. There's a lot we can do. The problem is we don't want to get up and do it. We just like complaining until it knocks on our door. Once it knocks on our door, then we want to get up and we want to do something. The time is now. No longer sitting down. The revolution war because they got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And they needed to do something. And they got up and they done it. And it's our time. We have to get up off our butts and get this stuff done. We have to get off our butts and do things that needs to be done and needs to be done now. Because we cannot afford to continue to allow things to go on the way they're going on. Neither side is going to save us. We have to save ourselves. We have to rise up. If Milwaukee is sick and tired of the way Milwaukee is, then you got good people on both sides. Come to the middle and let's fix Milwaukee. That's all we got to do. Come to the middle and fix Milwaukee. You have people on both sides that's really concerned about our children. Come to the middle and fix the education system. You have both sides that don't want to force people to take the carrot. Come to the middle and fix the medical condition. There's so much we can do. We have qualified people. We have qualified people. So there's a lot we can do. We just got to want to get up and do it. We cannot just sit around and say, what to do? I don't know what to do. Yes, we know what to do. And we know how to get it done. We just got to be fed up with what's going on. And we got to make sure that we are doing what needs to be done now. Whether it's in Greendale, Wauwatosa, Westby, Sheboygan, doesn't matter where you at. We have to have a mindset to want to get up and fix what is messed up. We got to have that mindset. We have to have that mindset to say, probably so. I don't know the exact number of cars that have been stolen. But you know what? Here's a problem that I have with elected officials or that's running. If you're not willing to put no skin in the game with Milwaukee, stop using Milwaukee as your rally cry because you're not coming into Milwaukee to help. So don't stop. See, that's the problem we have. We want to talk about stuff, but we don't want to go in there and address it. You know, oh, Milwaukee dangerous. We'll come in the daytime, but we out of there. No. If you really want it done, it's going to take a lot to get it done. And that lot means it's just going to take a lot of people, not even a lot of people, but dedicated people. People are dedicated to change. I was watching something today, and it was about Clarence Thomas. And Clarence Thomas was getting death threats not to go through the process of becoming part of the Supreme Court. And the man asked Clarence Thomas, what are you going to do? Are you going to drop out of the process? Clarence Thomas says, I'd rather die than to drop out. I'm not going to be bullied. I'm not going to be scared. I'd rather die than to drop out. And when I heard that, I'm like, wow, this man believed that he's not going to be intimidated, not going to be bullied. He's not going to let nobody punk him. He's not going to let nobody run him off. He says, nope, I'm going to stay. I'd rather die than to back off. And you know, and how many of us are willing to say those same things? How many of us is willing to say that? I'm willing to die for what I believe in. How many of us is willing to say, I'm willing to die to help fix my community? I'm willing to die to help change uh, the situation when it comes for our children, because people are being threatened when they stand up for what's right. You're going to be threatened when you stand up for righteousness. So if you go in trying to change some stuff, they're going to try to bully you. They're going to try to intimidate you. They're going to try to scare you. But greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. Great is he. So we got to have that mind. I'm not going to let anybody bully me from doing what's right. And that's what's happening. And that's why when you do what's right, you're going to speak out against both sides. When you do what's right, you're going to do what's right for the people. And you're going to say some things that's going to rub both sides. You're going to do that. And so in doing that, you got to be willing to be hated. You got to be willing not to be liked. You got to be willing to be talked about. Because that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take. I remember, who was it? Patrick Teston was talking about, he rode along with the police in the city of Milwaukee. And during one night, I guess it was so many calls and everything. And he rode along with them just to say he rode along. But do he really care about Milwaukee? Well, we're about to find out. Let's see what kind of legislation he does, because he's still a state senator that's going to benefit Milwaukee. Let's see what he's going to do that's going to benefit Milwaukee. See, people use Milwaukee when it's campaign time, but let's see what they're going to do to invest in Milwaukee, because there's a lot of us that's working in Milwaukee that don't even get any kind of funding. We just work. We have skin in the game. We have invested in this city where we work, and my phone rings every day. Somebody need help with something, a job, or a place to live, or they need counseling. My wife's phone constantly ring where she's counseling somebody, praying for somebody. So we got skin in the game. We invest in the game. We know other people that invest in the game and not being paid, because we believe in our city, we believe in our community. So we have to invest in this thing. And then you got people that being paid that ain't doing nothing. So, so when we're talking about investing, when we're talking about, we work when it's convenient for us. Y'all notice that? We only work when it's convenient. When it's convenient, we'll do it until it knocks on our door and we have no choice. But this fight is not a convenient fight. This fight is not a comfortable fight. This fight is not a cute fight. This fight is not a pretty fight. This is all-out war trying to make things right for our children. You got young men out here that's looking for mentors to show them how to be young men. You got young kids who's being told that that they was born gay and that God made a mistake, and nobody's standing up and saying that's not true. You can take a white baby and a black baby and put them together and they'll play. They will not dislike each other until somebody in either house talk like that, and then that baby, being a sponge, absorb that in and then start to act differently because of the environment that they are in. And so when no baby is born hating anybody. You was not born to hate whites if you're black, and you was not born to hate blacks if you are white. Those are things that have been installed in you and poured inside of you by the environment and the people that's around you. That's where that comes from. Nobody comes out the womb hate. No child comes out the womb confused sexuality. That is being pushed and poured into from within the environment. And so it's not where, and you know, it's we got a lot of correction to do about that, you know, and so we have to ask ourselves, are we really willing to take this on? You know, do we really want our neighborhoods fixed, our local, our cities, our townships? Do we really, our villages, do we really want them fixed? Do we want our county fixed? Do we want our state fixed? And it's not voting one side or the other. It's by the people in those areas rising up and saying enough is enough. It's about the people in those areas that's rising up and saying, I'm here to help and to lock horns with my neighbors, and that we're going to get this done. Because there's going to come a time where there's going to be a food shortage. And if we're not locking horns as neighbors now, if we're not working together now, you're not going to work together when there's a crisis. If we can't come together now, then if I don't have food, if I don't have food, then guess what? You're going to have to guard yours because I'm coming. And we already know this. We already know what's getting ready to happen. But if we come together as a community, I remember when I was coming up as a child, you couldn't just walk in our neighborhood and start anything. You didn't walk in our neighborhoods and call yourself want to start a fight. Not in our neighborhood. You couldn't do that. Because our neighborhood, we was closely knit. We were together. We was a force to be reckoned with in our community. You didn't come on our block. You didn't come on our block and do anything. The problem that we have today is a lot of us don't even know who our neighbors is. And because we don't know who our neighbors is, then guess what happens? There's no relationship. So, you know, that's them. I don't want to be in their business. No, you got to build relationship because there's coming a time where you're going to need one another to survive, because once it get crazy out here, you're going to need somebody to have your back. And if your neighborhood is protected and you guys got a shortage, you might have vegetables, somebody else might have some meat, somebody else might have something else. You guys come together and you can make a meal that all families eat, because listen, it's coming a time where we got to do this. It's coming a time. So my thing is, we have to ask ourselves this question: how much am I willing to invest to make a better Milwaukee, a better state, and a better nation? How much am I willing to invest? And is it worth it? Yes, because you got to pass on to the next generation. Can you imagine you leave here and your kids are now in a communist country? Can you imagine you leaving your children to a communist country? Yes, I didn't see that, but I got to take a look at it. I didn't see it, but that's going around everywhere. That's going around everywhere. I also believe, if I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong, but I think the young lady told me she goes to Nicolay, and they are having a LGBTQ club as well. So it's going around everywhere. But if the body of Christ, if the church will teach their youth the word of God, instead of just having them quote scriptures during Easter and Christmas, and really install the word of God in them, they can set up anywhere and they don't have to worry about it. But if they're not teaching, and they're not educating, oh yeah, we got a serious problem. Because if we leave our city and our state to our children and our grandchildren in a mess, then shame on us. Shame on each and every one of us. It is our duty. It is our duty to make it better for them, just like our parents made it better for us and their parents made it better for them. Many of you, your grandparents, your great-grandparents had to go to the outhouse to use the bathroom, and they fixed it where you didn't have to do that. There was many of us where parents you had to share rooms with 2 brothers, 3 brothers. Your children don't have to do that. Every generation was supposed to make it better for the next generation. It shouldn't be reversed and declining, but it should be increasing. And what we have to do is come together and make it better for everybody. Because the sad part about it is, we're sitting around twiddling our thumbs, hoping one party or the other is going to save us. And y'all know when I was on the campaign trail, I told y'all both parties is at fault. Both parties is at fault. Both parties is not concerned about the things that we are concerned about. Both parties, all they want is money and power, and at any cost. So you can be casualty to that war between the both parties, then you are the casualty of that war. Because why? All they want is power, and you're sitting around injured or destroyed. And it's going around, not just in Wisconsin, all over this country. Stop looking for a savior in man. We have to get up and do it ourselves. We have to rise up and say enough is enough. We have to be the one that says, you know what? I can't take this anymore. I got to fight for my children. I got to teach. There's no reason why every church that has a youth ministry is not fighting the education system. There's no reason that every youth pastor is not in this battle. There's no reason youth pastors are not helping with the fight for our children in the education system. There's no reason that they're not in this fight. They're supposed to be at the forefront of this fight because their job is to protect the lamb, the lamb, which is the babies. Their job is supposed to make sure that they are taken care of and that they are empowering them with the word of God so that they can be able to stand during the evil days. Our children should not have to feel bad about not going to the LGBTQ club or any of that crap. Our children should be bold, strong, and confident in who God called them to be. And if we got youth ministers out there, youth pastors out there that is not in this fight, then shame on you. If you got pastors out here that is not in this fight, then shame on you. Because the problem that we have is you're not doing what you was called to do. You was not called to just sit in a building. You was not called to just sit in a building and have service twice a week. You was called to stand up, be boldly, and proclaim the word of God in season and out of season. When they want to hear it, when they don't want to hear it. That is what you're called for. You're not called to have a good time in the building and then send our children into this poison and they don't even understand. And then you're accepting this crap. No, you don't supposed to accept it. Now, and I'm not telling you to get a pitchfork or a torch and go after every gay person and abuse them or anything like that. You're supposed to love them to life. You're supposed to love them and let them know what thus says the Lord. You don't supposed to just go along with it. You're supposed to love them without judging them and helping them to see the light, because it's under the spirit of lies. Homosexuality is under the spirit of lies. And it doesn't make sense to a lot of people if you really understand and you take a look at it. You have a man who's a homosexual who don't want a woman, but he want a man that act like a woman. You got a woman who don't want a man, but will be with a woman who act like a man. That is the spirit of confusion. That's the spirit of lies. So I'm not being beaten down on them. And then what are they doing? They're indoctrinating that lies in our children. They're confusing the children at a young age because children is like sponges. So they'll mimic anything and they absorb everything. So you even have to be careful when you're watching a football game. This is why fathers and some mothers have to be careful when they're watching a football game when their babies are around. Because when you cuss at that TV during a football game, I guarantee you that baby gonna cuss and you're gonna like, where you get that from? They got it from you watching the game. So they mimic us. They whatever we do, they do. So we have to be careful on how we do things. And this is why you have to have traditional families, traditional father and mother, and the father showing the mother love in front of the children so children would know what love is. Not sex, but love, respect, honor. They need to see that in the home. And so with traditional homes, a traditional mom and a traditional father, a mother, father, mommy, daddy. This is what they need to see. This is what they need to see. And the thing about it is they won't be able to see it if we're not standing up fighting for traditional values. If we're allowing our moral compass to be messed up. If you ever knew how to put a timing belt, right? You have to take almost the whole engine apart, line it up, and you don't know you got it lined up until you put the engine back together, and then you try to start it. And if it don't, guess what? You got to take it all apart again. Because that timing belt, that timing chain, that thing has to be on point in order for that car to run. Well, guess what? That's the same way your moral compass has to be. So sometimes you got to tear down some stuff. That stuff that you compromise, that stuff that you just let go by, that stuff that you used to watching on TV. Oh, it's a good show, but do you see what they're doing? I know, but I look over that part. You cannot look over that part. That part is right there with you. It's in your face just as much as anything else. So we got to be willing to fight. We got to be willing to get in there together. It's going to take all of us, not just one. It's going to take all, ALL, all of us. Every community has to rise up. Every community has to rise up. Check your school board members. See if they are bonded. If they are bonded, sue their bonds. Sue their bonds. We're doing our homework right now on Milwaukee Public School Board members to see if they bonded. If they are bonded, we're coming. We're coming. Because there's no way our children should have one of the worst education in this state. So we're coming. We got to rise up. No more sitting on the sidelines. No more saying I ain't got time. No more thing I can't afford to right now. You can't afford not to. You can't afford not to. Because if you don't, who will? So you waiting on somebody else to do it? So you waiting on somebody else to get sick and tired of being sick and tired? Are you waiting on somebody else to, what's the word I want to use? Be in the forefront that you can just hide in the back? Or are you one of those people that's saying, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready to fix what's going on. I'm ready to fix. In the city of Milwaukee, I think we have 4 or 5 ottoman seats empty. Empty. It's no way we should have those many seats empty. Empty. So you got districts that has no representation. None whatsoever. You got to wait all the way to November to just fulfill 2. There's no way we should not have representation in every district in the city of Milwaukee. No way. This is how much they care. This is how much they care. This is how much they care. And if you saw Cavalier with the budget claiming he don't have enough money, you know, okay, you might have made some bad investments with y'all pension. Suck it up. But stop telling us what you don't have and giving that pity party. If you can't do the job, you need to resign. You need to resign because you're not there to make it better for the people of Wisconsin. I mean, the people of Milwaukee. You're not there for the sake of the people in Milwaukee. You are there for the person whose pocket you are in. That's what you're there for. And it's funny how we're sitting around trying to figure out how to solve something that is very simple. And I'm finna cuss. It's called accountability, holding every single one accountable. You got construction all over the city of Milwaukee, all over the city. And they act like it can't get done. I watched them a couple of years ago. Northwest Mutual was having a conference here. I watched them strip Water Street from, what was that? Clybourne. Yep, from Clybourne all the way to where Brady Street meet Water Street. I watched them strip both sides of the street, put the new asphalt down, paint the lines and everything, and had it ready by 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the people from Northwest Mutual was getting ready to go party on Water Street. They fixed the whole strip in a day. In a day. In a one day. And now it's taking forever. And you probably say, well, why did they do that? Economics. Economics. They did not want Water Street shut down when people wanted to party and spend money. Economics. And you go in the hood and you got them, and they've been there for months. For months. And it still ain't done. They don't care. They showing you in your face, we don't care about you. On the north side of Milwaukee, where I grew up, maybe somebody else did, I never saw a city street sweeper go in our alleys on the north side. On the south side, they go through our alleys at least once a month. They go through our alleys. They go through our alleys. Last winter, we had no problem with the snow being moved off our block. On the north side, that snow stays there. We had no problem over here where I live. But on the north side, problems all the time. Every single chance they got, the Black community in the city of Milwaukee have been in an abusive relationship with the city for a long, long time. Long time. We have been in that abusive relationship with the city a long time, a long time. And we have allowed them to continue to lie to say it's going to get better, and it never does. We allowed them to continue to blame other people when they're in charge. We keep allowing them to give us more excuses on why it can't get better. Matter of fact, where is the school board for Milwaukee? Where is the school board for MPS to give us an explanation on why the school system and education is so terrible, and why they're not giving an answer to our children graduating that can't read and write, and why they're not giving us an answer of they get $15,000 a kid, 25 kids in one class is $375,000 in one classroom, and you don't have enough money to do what? Why our school board, MPS, never give an account for nothing? Nothing. Nothing. Why our aldermen and alderwomen never give an account on why crime is the way it is, why neighborhoods is the way it is. You know, they was excited the other day that the city made Juneteenth Day a holiday, a city holiday, and they're so excited about it. And a lot of people, I look at that and say, wow, a lot of people really doesn't understand Juneteenth Day. And a lot of people don't know that the reason they celebrate Juneteenth is not that's the day that they freed the slaves. That was the day that the news finally got to Texas. 2 years. It took 2 years for the news to get to Texas that the slaves was free. 2 years. Why 2 years? Why did it take 2 years? 2 whole years. See, they always trying to give you a pacifier. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. We will see in a couple of months. Then we can talk. Hold on one second, you guys. Let's see what this says. Yes, sir. Hello? Hello? Let me call him, see what I think he was trying to call the other phone. Let's get him on here. He's running for office. Let's see if we get him up on. Yes, sir. I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm doing the show. You want me to call you from another phone so you can tell people why you running for office? Okay, I'm gonna call you from the other phone. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna call your phone from a different number though. Okay. Let me get him on the phone. Just hold tight, you guys. Hold tight. Okay. Can y'all hear the phone ringing?
Hello?
Hey, sir, hold on 1 second. I just want to
Okay.
make sure people can hear you. Say something.
Okay.
Tell them your name. Tell them your name.
Hi, this is Greg Kennedy.
Okay. Can y'all hear him? Somebody respond real quick. Can y'all hear him? Okay, they can hear you. So
Okay.
tell them your name and tell them what you're running for.
Hi, my name is Greg Kennedy. Nice to meet you all. I'm a candidate for 12th District State Assembly, state representative for the State Assembly. And nice to meet you all. Glad to be here and glad to be on your show.
Okay, well, I'm going to hit you with some hot questions, but first I want to say,
Uh-oh.
I want to say to Nikki, hey, my niece, Nikki, how you doing? God bless you, dear. We need to talk, Nikki. So you're going to have to call me. We need to talk. So, sir, you're running for the 12th?
Correct.
State Assembly, right?
Correct.
Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to tell the people about Greg Kennedy. And then I'm gonna ask them to put questions on my show, and then we're gonna ask you those questions.
Okay, I'll do the best I can. It's kind of impromptu, and I was on my way home. But yeah, I mean, as far as noise, keeping the little noise level down, I'll do the best I can and try to answer the people's questions the best I can too. But go ahead, yeah.
Okay,
I'm willing and ready.
So tell the people. Let's see. Are you? Okay, wait. Let me. Hey, Russ, if you asking me that, then I'll talk to you, Russ, after the show. And you'll get an answer for your question about if I'm a run for mayor or not. I'll answer your question in a minute. But let's do this first. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay.
So
yeah. I'm a young man that loves the city, loves the state, loves my district, and who's been a resident for over 40 years. And I feel that the assembly would be a good place to have conversations that I feel aren't being had and to implement some ideas that I feel aren't being implemented. And I feel it's the time to move now with the fluidity and the flexibility, actually, of the way things are going right now. I think that I would be a perfect candidate for this race. I'm a hardworking guy who's put time in as a mentor, as a counselor. So I'm going to be just put just as much time in and effort as I put into human beings as I put into governing this district. Okay. And I decided to run because so many issues that are delving and facing complex issues that are facing that I necessarily feel that they are being addressed. I'm being addressed with a broad enough spectrum of interests from a conservative background. So
okay,
that's who I am. That's why I decided to run.
So let me ask this:
short and simple.
Is Brown Deer Road in your district?
Correct. Yeah, it goes all the way to County Line Road, actually.
Okay.
And it's a Brown Deer Road. Yeah, Brown Deer would go about 6 blocks north of Brown Deer Road. Okay. And that's where it would end.
So let me ask a question. What's your vision for the children that's in the meadows?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, because it's almost a lost sector of town, and almost they've given up on it with the abandonment of the Northridge facilities out there. Well, it's to have removed a YMCA out there was a total detriment to that area and that community because it isolated so many kids from a bus line and so many kids that didn't have after school activities and don't have MPS after school recreational activities, and parents don't have money for different programs. So I plan to reintroduce recreation back into that area for these young people, so that after school, because they'll face a myriad of negative things to do, but nothing positive to do. So let's get some investment in some recreation, some after school programs, some mentoring programs, some youth camps. There's a bunch of things we can do and a bunch of ideas on the table that could benefit that community. And obviously, it'll be up to the voters if they really want that to see change in that area. But we can change that area from where the blight that it's becoming to a thriving part. You know, they've totally given up on that part of the district. They've totally given up on the brown deer. They've pushed them out, made sure that there's no bus line that connects. And these kids are out there. I'm out there almost a couple times a week, knocking on doors out there in those meadows. They're boarded up. Some of them are dilapidated. You should see some parts of over off south of 76th Street. So, yeah, they figure that this is going to. Almost looks like a part of the central city in some of the old residential areas down near the projects where they had them down.
Okay, one person asks, "What is your number one issue?"
My number one issue is crime. I just and crime from a perspective that if even we have to fix the economy, because if we don't fix the economy, it's a direct correlation to crime. Anytime inflation is up, you go from 1965 to 1993, and you see when there are levels of inflation, and crime has also spiked with it. But we go to one particular year in 2008 when there was a rise in the inflation rate, but there wasn't when there was a rise in crime, inflation wasn't up. So why is that important? Because when people find it hard to purchase things, sometimes they go underground to purchase things. So they buy things illegally. They can't afford to buy them legally, they buy them illegally. And so now you have the spike in robbery, you have the spike in burglary, you have the spike in all these types of crimes now when inflation is up. So let's toe the line on taxes. Let's fix that fiscally, and then let's deal with crime, because crime spikes as we know when the inflation spikes. But
Okay.
we've got to deal with the criminals.
Okay.
Stiff
So
and tough.
So one would argue that it's not inflation that brings up crime, but education.
Mm-hmm.
And some will argue with you that education is the biggest problem, not inflation. What would you say about the education?
I would agree. Education in the hand of liberals and Democrats is going to see a disastrous effect, and we're going to. Oh my God! Yeah, you're talking about we've got a school to prison pipeline with public education, a direct school to prison pipeline. So yeah, but there are three things that happen. There's there are three things that are happening, and one of the components is, I'll say one of them. I won't say all of them, but one of them is when inflation rises, crime rises along with it. I won't say that they're parallel partners, but one of the major things that happens is you will see that criminals will start to say, "Wow, okay, I start to see a spike," and you'll start to see. I mean, and that's just stealing of gas, whether they're stealing gas now, whether they're personal property crimes. Well, they may not be all murders, but you just see a lot of victim crimes and theft of property and burglaries. And these are all things because,
Okay, somebody says education is one of the main issues in our community. And I'm going to add to that and say education is the main issue of our community. Now, you made a comment that the Democrats and liberals is at fault with the education, but the Republicans was in charge and they did Acts 10 and they took money from the teachers union and they saved money, but they didn't fix the education system itself. They didn't get rid of Common Core. So as a state rep, what would you do to help better the education system in the city of Milwaukee?
That's a large question that obviously takes some balancing, some takes some balancing of trust of different people from both sides, actually, to sit down and want to just hammer out what the problems are, and we all make decisions according and based upon certain things in my life. So I make decisions on according to what I've been through in life. You've made decisions according to what you've been through in life. And we can all attest to the fact that sometimes there are decisions that I'll make that you won't understand, and decisions that you'll make that I just won't understand, because there are decisions we made about decisions that are in our own lives.
But
So I have to sit down and perfectly see both sides of this issue and look at it like that, impartially first, and then
okay,
as a legislator.
now the decisions we make personally affect us,
Okay.
but as a legislator, the decisions you guys will make will affect our children. And so when you look at Milwaukee, for example, 9% of the children that graduated out of MPS, 9% was able to read and do math at a high school level. 91% was not able to do math or reading at a high school level. So 91% got a piece of paper to graduate with no reading or math skills. So how are they going to get a job? So as a parent, and I got parents that's out here, they're concerned about their children. You see fights everywhere. You see Wauwatosa, you see Mequon, Waukesha, and even up north, everybody's fighting the education system. So with that being said, give your opinion to the parents, because here's the thing about it: the poverty area, because the Meadows, Brown Deer, North Ridge Lake, those areas where the crime is rising is because there's no future for these. There's nothing going on for them. So what as a representative, and it's a lot of y'all, so you can't do it by yourself, but what would be a agenda that you would push to try to get your colleagues to go along with?
Well, parents need more rights. Parents need more rights, and then we need more parent involvement. Anytime I'm at my daughter's PTA meeting and there's 100 kids in her class and there's only 3 or 4 of us parents, that doesn't make me feel too strong either about parents. So there needs to be accountability on both sides. Yeah, we need more funding on a lot of levels. We need more funding on a lot of levels, and we need more help in the schools. We need statewide school voucher program. We need not to be limited just because of zip codes. But as far as I think you're talking public schools, we can see you're right. There's 60, 70,000 kids that have never been hooked on phonics. I find that hard to believe, that there's no phonics. There was never phonics taught. So we've got to get these kids. They've got skills. They've got, what these kids think is diction is not diction. What they think is the English language, it's chopped up. We've had a problem for a long time. And nobody seemed to solve it. Nobody seemed to care about it. We have totally different wrong teaching methods. So these kids won't be able to keep up with society. They won't be able to keep up with the jobs. They won't be able to keep up with the skills that they need to succeed going into the next century and millennium, and so on and so on and so on, even past the millennium.
Well,
so there's a crisis.
Okay.
There's a definite crisis.
One parent says, ever since they passed that law, No Child Left Behind, these kids are just passing, not learning, nothing, can't further their education. Because they don't know half of the basic. The education system is failing our children. Now, I want to say this because I'm not going to play I don't want to use the word devil advocate, but I'm one of those that just speak truth. Okay. And when you look at the education system, it's designed to fail our kids. It doesn't need any more money. They got money. They get a lot of money in the in education system. Matter of fact, the federal government just gave another $82 million just for them to teach social emotional learning. So it's not that they don't have the money. It's that when you look at the and we're going to go there right now, the minority communities, the Black community, the Latino communities, it is designed for them to dumb down the education system. And so in the process of dumbing down the education system, you know, everybody want to say that you have to pour more money in there. Where's the accountability of teaching? And yes, the parents need to be involved. But when you got parents that has to try to work 2 and 3 jobs just because if they, for example, if a parent is getting food stamps and childcare, there's only a certain amount of money she can make, or they'll take her food stamps and childcare. So that right there forces her to stay on a job just so they can have ends meet. But parents need to get back involved in it. I'm 100% with you on there. Parents got to get back involved, but parents need their rights back. They tied parents' hands. If parents try to discipline their kids, they go to jail, and Child Protective Agency take away their kids. If parents is allowed to be parents, now you and I grew up in an era where the street light better not beat us home. And so there was discipline in our household. There was discipline in our neighborhood. There's no discipline now because if the parent discipline their kid, the parent goes to jail. So how are you going to give the parents their rights back?
Well, somehow we're going to have to do it. And we're going to have to do it quickly. And I don't contend to know. I contend that I will be a beneficial part of the answer. Having all the answers exclusively, I will refuse to give all of my answers, all of them, without including, again, counsel, understanding from various practicums and various stories. I'll have to see, and on a case-by-cases, see how this is. First of all, how do we continue to do that? Is to allow, like me, I went to a, oh boy, this is kind of touchy, the school one, is because I try to be involved, or I tried to be involved on many different levels and was barred on many different levels. I'll just put it like that. As a parent of a child, having 4 children that were in the MPS system, as a single dad, especially. But there are some case-by-case studies where you can see where there is some parental right and exclusion overall because it's public schools, public education, because of the fact that it is public education. And I won't go into any deeper than that. We know why, because it's public.
Well, let me
education.
give you an example once. My grandson at the time was in MPS, and he acted up in school, and I went to the school and I told the principal was in the room, the social worker, my grandson, and me. And the social worker was just listening in the beginning, and the principal began to talk. And I told the principal, I said, ma'am, I'm about to take him in the bathroom. When I bring him out of that bathroom, he's going to apologize, and you will never have to call me again. The social worker says, Mr. King, you can't do that. I looked at the social worker and said, I'm not talking to you. I looked at the principal. I said, ma'am, I'm going to take him in the bathroom. And when I come out that bathroom, he's going to apologize, and you'll never have to call me again. And she said, then the social worker said, Mr. King, you cannot do that. I said, listen, I understand my rights. I'm a pastor. You cannot infringe on my religious beliefs. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna do this. And if you want that fight with me, when I get done with you, ain't nobody gonna hire you. I took him in the bathroom, did what I had to do. He came back, he apologized, went back to the class. I looked at the social worker. I said, now make your phone call. She didn't make that phone call because she understood I was a person who understood my rights. And if you want that fight, we can have that fight. You're not going to tell me my rights. You're not going to tell me that I can't correct my grandson. You're not going to tell me that I'm not going to be able to help my grandson get a better education. And then you know what we did? We took them out of MPS. So you're not going to tell me. See, we're allowing people to dictate to us on how to raise our kids. You're not going to dictate to me on how to raise them. And so, so when we look at it, let's see. No, I was just I'm reading some comments that people are putting up. And so so one of the things that we have to do, and
What are they saying? What are they saying?
Well, she said when I was raised, when grown people talking, no kids should be in the room.
Oh, Lord.
And a lot of us was like, that. Kids ain't got no business in a. I'm not saying kids shouldn't express themselves, because we should want our kids to express themselves. But there's a limit in things that adults talk about that kids shouldn't have nothing to be a part of that conversation. No kid should be in a conversation when a husband and wife is talking about how we gonna take care of the bill. Kids ain't got no business going to bill, wondering if we gonna get put out.
Right.
There's certain things that I never saw my mother and father argue. I never saw that. My mother never played, even when they got a divorce, my mother never played us against my father.
Right.
So she's right. Kids should never be in grown folks' business. There's certain things that kids should not be a part of. And you can tell kids apart. Look on Facebook, look on TikTok. You got kids acting just like those grown folks. They standing there, they cussing, they telling them, I'm the man, I'm your man, and where did the kids get that from? They get that from the parents. But when we looking at this election here, I tell people all the time, and Saturday at my book signing, I share with people about the election, and I share with them how I will be voting for Tim Michels for governor, because the governor we got now hasn't done anything for our children. So I will be voting for Tim Michels for governor. But when it comes to Secretary of State, I'm voting for a libertarian, because I vote individuals. I don't vote party, I vote individual. So I will be voting for Neil as for Secretary of State as a libertarian, instead of voting for a Republican for Secretary of State. I will be voting Republican governor, but I will be voting libertarian for Secretary of State. Why? Because I believe in voting for the individual, not a party. So if I vote for the person, that means I'm looking at that person's character. I'm looking at that person, how they conduct themselves. I'm looking at that person for who they are as a person. And this is what we have to do. We got to stop voting party and vote the individual, knowing that that individual is going to do what they need to do for our children, and for if I'm a business owner, for my business, for my family. Kids are raising kids. We need more parents, not friends. That is so true.
I agree.
Kids should not be involved in adult conversations. Let them be kids. I agree with that as well. And kids K-5 should not be worrying about sexuality. They should not be sitting there wondering, as a little girl, am I a girl or am I a boy?
I agree.
But that's in the school system, and it's starting at K-5. This is
Yeah,
why,
sure.
huh?
Well, no, yeah, absolutely. They start as early as they can. Indoctrination has to start as early as it can, as early as possible.
And this is what's happening in the schools right now. And
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
so people that's going into office, if a person, and this is not to you per se, this is for everybody.
Okay.
If a candidate can't tell me their vision for my children, then I don't think that candidate should be able to get my vote. Because if you don't have a vision for my children, then why they in office or why they running for office? Right now, every school board and MPS doesn't have a vision for our children for the good. They have a vision, and it's to destroy them and to indoctrinate them. But so this is why we got school board races coming up in 2023. We got to deal with this. We got to deal with it in Milwaukee. MPS got school board races coming up, and we have to fire everyone that's in office that have done a PPP, piss poor performance when it comes to our kids' education. They messed up our kids. They let them down. They indoctrinated them. They didn't teach them. They wasn't even allowed. Now we got some great teachers who went into teaching to teach our children to be a part of allowing them to be great leaders, but their hands is tied that they can't do it. So we need to start with the school board. We need to get rid of every school board member in MPS. Every last one of them need to go. Every single one need to go. I don't care if they say they're conservative or Democrat or liberal or whatever. You didn't stand up for our kids. You didn't do a press conference. You did not fight. You didn't call the parents in to tell us what they was doing. They try to bribe the kids to take the carrot. They was going to give $100 to take a carrot. And I'm using code words. That's why I'm saying the word carrot. But they was bribing them to take the carrot. And so you bribing our kids without telling the parents. So, we have to get rid of them to make our children education better. So, so we have to do something different. We cannot keep doing the same thing and thinking we're going to get a different result. That cannot happen. Not here, not in Milwaukee, not across the state. And then we got to go after all the aldermen, all the county supervisors. We have to go against everybody that's in office now because they are part of the problem in the mess that we are in. And this is why I'm going to help you set up a meet and greet in your district that you can talk to the people and give them your vision. Now, you got to give them your vision when we do this meet and greet. You can't say, I don't want to say right now. You're going to have to give it up because if you can't give it up now, then why would they push you through the general election?
Well, brother, the people know that I'm for real, but I'm as this is kind of spontaneous. I think it's just using wisdom to be as diplomatic as I can right now until we have something that is more. This is kind of a spontaneous but the people can count on me for what for I stand behind what I stand for. I stand on what I stand for. There are just forms where I could do it at and do it more salacious instead of here. I don't want to come off as wrong and bitter. And we'll sit down. We'll do the meet and greet. We'll go live. We'll go what we have to do. I'll stand on the rooftop, proclaim the truth. I stand behind it. The truth is what it is. It's going to stand, and it's immovable. It's shakeable, and it will always abound. But some of the questions, I want to use wisdom. I want to use wisdom and prudence in how I answer what I want to answer, how deep I answer, as I don't know who I'm answering to right now, and I don't know what form I'm answering to. So yeah. I want to meet the people. I want you to help me with that. I want the people to receive me and perceive me, and they will hear what they need to hear. I mean, I'm pro-life. I'm pro-school choice. I'm for less funding. I agree the schools get enough money. They just don't have money in the right areas. They don't have money to deal with these over hypersexualized young men who are touching on all the young girls. They don't have money in areas of mentoring.
Wait. Let me stop you. They got money. The money stays in administration. The money is
right.
The money's there. It's not that they don't have money. They got
Right.
money. They just not. It's not going down. It's not going down. If you got one classroom with 25 kids, that's $375,000. So they got the money. It's not they don't have the money. They got it. And the thing about it is there's no accountability with the money. So it's not like they don't have the money. The money has always been there. So, and now you're allowing them to turn schools into apartments. So don't say they ain't got the money. They got the money. They're selling schools to developers. So if you're selling schools to develop, where that money went to? You got $375 per classroom. Where that money go to? So it's not a money problem. That's not the problem. So
administration is eating it. You're right. The money's in it. The money. Yeah. I agree with that. I will deter that question. That answer. They've got the money. It's just in administration. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, they got it. So the thing about it is, when you look at individuals and you say to them, you know what, we need to change some things, and they be like, nope, we're going to leave it the way it is, and we're just going to always cry. We need money. We need money. We need money. Everybody, money is not the answer. Money is not the answer. Look how much money they have. They in the welfare system, they spent trillions of dollars from the day they started war on poverty till today. They spent trillions of dollars, and we worse off today through the welfare system than we was back then. So it's not a money problem. If they would have took the welfare system and helped people instead of punishing people that want to get off the system, then you would have a better economy. If you would stop giving free money and let people go back to work, you will have a better economy. So the money is not the problem.
Yeah, you're right there, but yeah, you're right. The money's there. That's why you're absolutely right. I'll redeter that statement. As you see, why I don't want to go on saying too many things, getting too salacious, answering too quickly, Dr. King. I want to temper my words right now. Well, and I'm very, very tired. I've had a very long day. I've knocked on several hundred doors today. I'm very tired. I already did a Wisconsin Public Eye interview and did a couple other interviews today. It's just left Bible study. The people have grabbed all of my energy today. So I'm just temper what I say with a little wisdom.
Well,
and
okay. Well, I'm gonna let you go rest because this is Think About It Tuesday, and my crowd will hit you with some questions. And
okay, well, I didn't hear the questions though. Give me some questions. That's why I was asking.
But you're not going to answer the question because you're talking about using wisdom.
No, you. These are your questions or the people's questions?
No, these are people questions.
Okay, tell the people to give me the questions. Tell the people to give me the questions. What are the questions? I'm thinking you and I are having a conversation.
Oh no. No.
Okay, what do they want to know? What do they want to know? What do they want to know? I mean, if I'm not too late, if they haven't tuned off.
No.
But yeah, what do they want to know?
Okay, somebody hit him with another question.
Yeah, hit me.
But most of the conversation was going because you talked about the school and the money, and money is there, so that ain't a problem.
Okay.
So
I agree. Oh, I agree. I know this sort of fat cat salaries. I know how teachers that wanted to. Anyway, yeah.
Okay, so one question is, wait a minute. Oh, he said it twice. Are you for hard on crime? And if you are, explain why.
Am I hard on crime, and explain why I'm hard on crime?
Are you for hard on crime? And if you are, explain why.
Am I for hard on crime? What does it mean for hard on crime?
Are you going to be soft with criminals and what they're doing and how they?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. No,
Okay.
absolutely not. I believe it's a three-part component to this question. I believe we have to hold, obviously, we have to judicially hold our judges. I mean, this you get this $1,000 bail, and you get. I mean, so obviously there's a problem there in the judicial system. There's a problem there. Also, but there's also a problem in man's heart. Period. And there's just something you can't legislate the heart of man. And so when you got devious people that just don't want to, that just have a heart, you have to be hard on them. You have to, because their heart is lawless. Their heart, and the law is for the lawless. So yeah, I for punish every criminal that needs punishment twice if they do it twice, three times if they do it three times. And I believe in the strike system. And I believe that you don't continue to allow too many people to have too many chances, or I'll still think that you're soft. And no, I'm not going to be soft at all, because what does it benefit us to turn people back into society just to deviantly prey on our younger members or our older members? You have younger members of your family and older members.
Okay.
What?
No, keep going, because they got questions. So keep going.
Yeah. And so what does it? No. Yeah. Let's get tough. Let's get tougher. Yeah. Let's get tough. Why? I don't even understand why we went soft in the first place. Why did we even go soft in the first place?
Okay.
It's not even
Hold on. I
50%.
gotta hit you with something, two things that I gotta hit you with.
Okay.
The first one is, what about the injustice of when a black young man does a crime and get 20 years in prison versus a white young man that does the same crime and get probation?
It's injustice, just like the person said. It's unfair. It's unfair. And again, it's unfair. Either way you look at it.
But what are you gonna, as a
We have to go to that's an issue you have to take up with the district attorneys. Yeah, and that's what you have to go to the laws that are on the books, and you have to hit the district, because you're right. Because district attorneys will give a black man in the city of Milwaukee 10 years for a joint that they'll give somebody in Shorewood too much probation for.
Okay.
It's unfair.
Okay, so you be willing to sponsor a bill that makes sure no matter what the color of the skin, the crime, the punishment fit the crime itself?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'd be willing to sponsor that bill, co-sponsor that bill, author that bill, and co-author that bill if I had to.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So now the question is, what is your plan for teenage kids stealing cars?
Again, that's a crime. Listen, just like pick one, just like sin is a crime, murder, adultery, lying pick one. They're all sins. Pick a crime. They're all crimes.
Right.
You steal a car. It's on the same level. It's a theft. It's a personal property theft. And this is the reason why I say you see an influx of this. And
but they saying, what is your plan for this?
What my plan? I've already helped draft legislation down here already on a city level. I'm the one that's doing the Stop the Violence March and the ceasefire now against reckless and abandoned reckless driving. I've got a reckless driving law already that we take to the city of Milwaukee called the Ronald S. Butler bill. You can help sponsor and write up legislation without even being in office. And without even me being elected in office, I'm already drafting and proposing legislation already to have bills that are in effect for speeding. You take somebody's car, you penalize them, you punish them, you hit them with stiff penalties financially, and you remove their license, you remove their cars.
Okay, so the next question, because they got them for you. So
okay.
The one is saying to you, I feel like everyone deserves a second chance. You made a statement about second chance. So how do you really feel about somebody having a second chance?
I believe in second chances. I believe in second chances. I believe in we all have sinned and come short. We all have missed the mark at some point. We all have lost our focus. But I believe if we found some young people that we know have just lost their way, lost their focus, lost their abilities to live in society, if the crime is that heinous and that outrageous, I believe we need to get stiffed the first time and the first time only. If that's the case, if this person has exhibited a loss of focus, a loss of consciousness, a loss of humanity, and the crime is so inhumane that it just can't be tolerable, we cannot allow this individual to continue to perpetuate these thought cycles that they can get away with this. And secondly, what does it do again for us to let people out to see that they perhaps will do it again? All we have to do is look to the Waukesha parade driver to let that man out on $1,000 bail to go kill 9 more people. He not only had a second chance, but he used his second.
Wait. We got to back that one up. That gentleman got out on a bail for $1,000 for running over a black woman.
Exactly.
If that was a dog, he would not have got a bail. He would have been in jail for a long time.
So now let's go to my point. What does it benefit me as a black man to see another black man treat another black person like a dog and to say he deserves a second chance?
No. Wait. Because see, you're twisting the second.
No,
you're twisting the second.
I mean.
You're twisting the second chance. That's not a second. That's not what they talking about. Deserve a second chance. That's not what they're talking about. What they're talking, for example, you look at our kids. Locking up our kids is not the answer. The problem with our kids is they have no avenue to release anything. When you and I was growing up, we had Braxton Brooks, we had St. Elizabeth, we had Levon Way, we had Moody Pool, we had avenues that we could go anywhere in the city as kids and have a good time. We used to skate at Garfield Park. We used to play, go watch the bands play at Garfield Park. We had avenues. We had things that would keep us out of mischief. These kids doesn't have anything. And then you're telling the parents that if you discipline your kid, you going to jail. So these kids. You have these kids. They're not all bad kids. So when you take a kid that just fell in the wrong crowd, don't he deserve a second chance?
Yeah, listen, we all again. But at what point do you use punitive measures to take? At what point do you say, listen? Man, I want to go into this so deep, but I don't want to get personal. What I want to say is, at every level where I've offended or did something that was not right, I knew I did something wrong. Now listen, after I knew I did something wrong, I carried the guilt and the shame of that so much that I didn't want to do it again. What's wrong with these kids who have no guilt and no shame at all about anything they do and continue to, I get away with it. I ain't got no guilt. I don't have no shame. They've almost got a reprobated mind. Every human being knows when there's wrong, when he's offended, when he's done wrong, when he's out of line, when he needs to regroup, reshape, and refocus.
Okay,
what
so
about what about the kids that have no, what about the kids? I get it. What about the kids that are just so angry?
Answer this question: why they angry? You go to their house. You go in the environment of their house. They're not getting what they need. You go to school. You're not getting what you need. You don't even see a future. Some of these kids don't even believe they're going to see the age of 21 or 25. So if they have nothing, their fathers most of them is already locked up because of the system and the way the system is designed. And these kids have nothing. So what is it what's going to benefit that child to become free labor to the state?
Because at some point, sometimes prison makes a man. Jail makes a man. At some point, being set aside, being separated, being set down, being laughed at, being humiliated, sometimes that's the greatest teacher that these young men ever get. It's just the discipline that they never had at home.
Okay,
It's
so
just a structure that they never had at home.
so
It's
you
just listen. Do you know that some of these? I go into every prison in the state of Wisconsin, and you know I know this, and you know I have went into prisons, and there have been guys that said, "Man, I haven't seen a dentist in 5 years. Now I get regular dental treatment. Man, they've discovered that I've got polyps.
man,
They've discovered that
listen,
I've got cancer.
listen.
Some of them won't even get medical care
We
until they
have
go to prison."
listen. We have watched because we do prison ministry. We have watched. You take a 18-year-old, a 18 who made one mistake in his life, or one bad decision in his life. 18 years old, and now he won't come out until he's 48 or 58. One mistake, and now he won't be out until he is 58, because if they give him 30 years or 40 years, he has to do it all. So now he's not going to come out until he is 58 years old. 58, 38, off of a mistake.
But my point is, if you keep him out, then he's going to do 30 years of mistakes on the street. And we have to pay for those mistakes. They're going to be victims of his mistakes.
But not necessarily, because here's the thing about it. If we do some things to help these young, you already know the education system done failed them. You already know they can't really read, they can't do math, so they can't really get a job. We already know that the environment that they in, they think that's all they got. We already know that when just because a person make a mistake, don't mean they don't. How many mistakes did you make that you changed that you didn't do it? How many mistakes did I make and I didn't go back that route? So sometimes let me tell you something. I had did something, and the judge looked at me and said, "Mr. King, if you come back in my courtroom, I'm gonna give you 6 months." I said, "Judge, you will never see me again." And after I said that, he never saw me again. So when you talking about, that man could have said to me, "You know what? I'm not even going to give you another chance. I'm going to lock you up now." And knowing my mindset, I would have been in there. I would have fought. I would have hurt somebody. I would have got more time and more time and more time. So we can't just look at a person. We got to look at everything about that person and see what kind of background he come out of. Because you throwing them away off of one mistake and saying, "Oh, they need to do the time," that's not going to help them. Wait a minute, let me see what they say.
But Dr. King, neither is allowing them to have excuses, all the excuses that we just, "Oh, my dad is not there. Oh, the school has failed me." Oh, I mean, allowing them to live a life of excuses as a sentiment either is not healthy either. I mean, you say locking them up for 30 years, but if you get a guy that is incorrigible for 30 years, he's not only corrupted him, he's found somebody else to corrupt. He's found somebody else to corrupt. He's found this victim. I mean, I'm not saying that give up on anybody. I'm just saying that if we found the crime so heinous and we found this person so
but the ones that you got to understand, the ones that's getting that time, their crime is not heinous. They're getting
now that was where I was wondering where we are we talking about just little slap on the wrist crimes? Are we talking about
there is no slap on the wrist crime. Come on, if we're going to talk about the justice system, let's be real. You got, the man ran over a woman. He got a bail for $1,000. You got a young man who made one mistake, and now he's doing 15 years, 20 years off of one mistake. This man had a record. He had a list. He had a whole bookshelf of what he's done. And then you get the ones that really just made a bad mistake and they ended up doing 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years off of one mistake. And I'm not talking about nothing heinous. I'm talking about simple stuff. You got fathers going to jail for 6 months a child because he couldn't get a job to pay child support. You're talking about putting felons on people for child support. So when you're talking about this stuff, you got to look at the whole thing, the whole picture. You got young boys who's 18 years old, whose girlfriend was 16, and now they got to register as a sex offender. But then you got judges who's looking at child pornography and everything else, and they're not doing nothing. Elected officials is doing wrong, and they're not being punished. But you're talking about those people that are poor. Those people that is poor. Look at the stuff that they're doing right now that they're investigating that Robin Voss done. Nothing happened to Robin Voss, but look at the stuff that a poor Black, white, Latino do, and they get the hammer. They get sentenced right away. They get asked to step down right away. They are asked to leave office right away. But these other ones, they get away with it. So you're talking about being strict. How come we're not strict on elected officials that's doing wrong?
I'll ask you one question.
Yeah.
Where you say, and I think I look at it more like this. Sometimes you only get one chance to make a good impression. And so let's say the kids who rode up on my son, or my son was on the bus stop just trying to go for work. Those kids who rode up on him, took his shoes, say that I rode up and brandished my gun or hurt or tried to protect my son. See, so it's the worst is not going to prison. Sometimes a loss of life is what the penalty you get for making the wrong mistake. Sometimes sending those kids to jail is going to save their lives. Sometimes sending those kids to jail is going to save their lives.
Save their lives by putting them away for 30 years is saving their life? That's not saving. What kind of life they going to have?
It's a life that would tell them don't ever roll up on an innocent kid again. It's the life that they can hear to say, you know why? Because they're meeting the people who said, I killed a kid. They're meeting the people who say, you could have been that kid I killed.
Okay.
They're hearing from they're hearing from the prisoners who probably have done more than them.
Okay, so what about our elected officials that's doing wrong? Shouldn't they be in jail?
Absolutely. Absolutely, positively, unequivocally.
And they should get more time than the average kid because they know what they're doing. Now theirs is not an accident. They are deliberately doing it. Mm-hmm. They're deliberately doing it. And because of their status, they get away with it.
I agree. And it's unfair. But we do know that having money provides you with better representation, better lawyers, better defense.
Oh no, come on. That just lets you get away with doing crime versus somebody who ain't got no money to get a good lawyer. Come on.
That's the translation. That's the translation of that, yeah.
Okay, somebody said that's not fair for somebody to spend all them years in jail.
Nobody said it was. No one here said it was fair for anybody to spend unnecessary amount of time in jail if they haven't done any crime. But we do know that there is a chance whenever you try to break the law, and we all know that there is a prison time associated with laws.
Okay, so
we do know this is the land. This is the land of laws. We do know that.
So what
There's
about
laws of nature?
So what about those that are in jail that didn't break the law? They just couldn't afford a good lawyer.
No, that's unfair. That's unfair. That again is unfair.
So it's
without
unfair
true
for
evidentiary fact, without true evidentiary fact, and we know that these people have been locked up without a preponderance of evidence, just on burdens of proof. Not even which is the highest evidentiary fact in law, which is without a preponderance of evidence, but just without burdens of proof, on general burdens of proof, and then we know that's not right. We know that's not right, and you won't. Yeah, we know that's not right. You've got to have a high preponderance of evidence, and there has not been a lot of evidence on some of these people who have been locked up.
okay, this
And
says
that's
but putting someone in jail for a long period of time for a mistake or a situation that happened several years ago. So and being tough on crime, I know people is asking to be real hard on crime, tough on crime, but there has to be a balance.
I agree.
There can't be tough on crime because, for example, did you know the 13th Amendment, when they did the 13th Amendment to free the slaves, that they put a loophole in that 13th Amendment?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did.
So in that 13th Amendment, when they freed the slave, and they were saying no one can get free labor anymore unless they are incarcerated. So 800,000 blacks got incarcerated back then so they can have free labor. And what do you think they're doing right now? Sending our young people to jail, whether they black, white, whatever, male, female, is to help boost the free labor that's going around right now. And that's
I'll put it like this. I'll put it like this. Can we rephrase the word? You said sending people to jail. Let's rephrase the word to sentencing people. People send their own selves to jail. People send their own selves to jail. Two places people send their own selves: jail and hell. Nobody sends you to jail. Nobody sends you to hell. Now, some people were sentenced and sentenced unfairly. I agree, but to say send means that, because in that case they would love to send more. They would love to have their numbers more than 800,000.
Well,
if that's the case,
but they do. No, there are some they have sent. They have not done what they have not done things to go to prison for that long of a time. You see it. We see it over and over again. We have seen a young man make one mistake, he get 20 years. The same man, same age, different color, goes in front of the judge and he gets probation. We have seen this. So they sent one. Everybody didn't send themselves. They sending them because the justice system is unfair. And we all know that.
Can I now, I may lose some voters with this. But no, let me just get personal.
Okay.
Let me get personal. And my background is out there. I mean, it's public. Our backgrounds are public. So anybody can Google this and know. So my one little run-in, I should say, was a possession charge. Okay. Now, I was charged with more than somebody in the suburb. I was charged with a stiffer penalty. I'm a victim of this. I understand exactly what you're talking about. I got a stiffer penalty than there's somebody on the same block in the same age group on a different block, a different color, arrested at the same time with the same amount. He walked away. I ended up in trouble. Still, if I had not have been dirty, they couldn't have sent me nowhere. That's what I meant. There's personal accountability in the fact.
Well,
so
I
say this. My thing is, I'm telling you, stay far away from any law, from breaking any law, because I know you'll get hooked up. I know you'll get ramrodded. I know you. Listen, I don't even know if I won't even go into this.
Okay, so let me cut you off real quick. So if you know that as a state representative, what would you do to help deal with the injustice that's going on, because you just said it out your own mouth. You experienced it. So what would you do to help stop all of the injustice that's in the justice system?
First of all, I would be a great hero if I could deal with all the injustices. I'd be I'd be the great emancipator if I could deal with, you use the word all. All is all, and that's all is. I couldn't deal with all of it. I'm just running in the 12th district. I will deal with the 4th district police department. But see, I know more than you would think the average conservative knows. I'm not that way, that far. I understand the similar. That's why I didn't go. That's why when you say you got to be one way or the other, well, let me use wisdom. That's the principal thing, because I have been on. I don't want to be biased against the police. I need to be fair. Even though
No. We ain't say nothing about the police.
No, I know, but I'm just saying I still need to be impartial, because I would swear an oath to be that way. I would swear an oath to these people not to have my past experiences flare up and how I'm dealing. Go start writing legislation against the police now. And there is legislation that needs to be there. There is legislation that needs to be.
Wait a minute. Nobody said legislation. See, you're moving it now. We didn't say anything about. We didn't even discuss police yet. We're talking about the justice system itself. That's what we're talking about. We have to hold judges accountable. But because you got to understand one thing, the police can't give nobody any years. They can scare you and say, "I can give you," but they can't give any years. So we're not even talking about the police.
Exactly. We're talking about the district attorney's office.
We're talking about the district attorney, the judges who sentence these people into prison and things like that. Now, I'm not for a lot of stuff. But then there's things that happen, that a person could be getting a ride home and didn't know the car was stolen, and they getting the same amount of years as somebody who stole the car. They just happened to be riding in the car, didn't know. So what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, the justice system needs to be fixed. As legislators, you guys can write and make it where it's more. For example, the punishment for a crime, no matter the color of a person or the sex of a person, if you do that crime, this is the much time you're supposed to get. And it's leveled all the way around the board. It's not just lopsided and unfair. This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about, okay, if a person did the crime, they got to do the time. Yes, but it has to be fair. It has to be fair across the board. That they can't go around it. So if as a legislator, you can help champion that and says, okay, we're gonna stop all of this now, because here's the thing: if it doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, middle class, black, white, whatever, if you do the crime, for example, bank robbery. This is the amount of times a person get if they do a bank robbery. Right? Car theft. This is the time. This is the amount of time if you steal a car. Doesn't matter where you come from. It don't matter if your family got a good name. If you do this crime, this is the time, flat across the board, making it fair. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about fair. We're not just talking about So if this is where we at. We want to know if it's going to be fair all the way around the board.
Oh, absolutely. We have to have fair. Absolutely. There is no having. I don't believe in. Man, that goes all the way around the board. You can go to some hospitals, and a poor person is lower on a transplant list than a richer person. That goes all throughout society. The have and the have-nots get more privileged because of the amount of wealth they have and status they have that they get. And no, it's not. It's almost a caste system. If we don't be careful, it'll form into that.
And I want to see elected officials that does illegal stuff go to jail too.
Yes, I agree. I agree, and including elected officials, including because you
matter of fact, I think, and this is just me. Somebody said, I don't think it will be fair. I don't think it'll be fair either. But I think elected officials should get double the time because they know better. You took an oath. You
right.
know better.
Yeah.
And we got people in Madison right now that are crooked and they should be in jail.
I agree.
We got people in Madison that are crooked. They even took money from different organizations that pushing the carrot and on their finance record. So that lets you know they've been doing crooked stuff. So they need to go. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian, Green Party. I don't care who you are. If you take an oath and you break that oath, you need to take that. You need to take that ride. You need to take that ride. Does he understand?
What is?
Wait a minute. I'm trying to see. He says, do you understand that you're trying to go in office during the beginning of a depression?
That's I've heard that. Do I understand I'm trying to go into the office at the beginning of a depression?
Yes.
I've heard that. What significance should that bear in me being able to still represent?
No, he's not saying that you can't represent. He just want to know.
Oh, sure. Yeah. He wants to know my thoughts about inflation, the economy, and all that. Well, there are people that are still saying that we're not in a recession. So what are you going to say about that? There's some people that would deny that claim that we're in a depression. There were some people that said that you have to deny that there are too many people, that there are too many jobs that are still looking for people. There's still too much money. There's still too many people that are hiring.
Okay, but here's the thing about it. There are a lot of jobs hiring, but the people is not qualified if they can't read. If they can't do math, they're not qualified for those jobs. You got jobs that they got to read a ruler. They don't know how to read a ruler. You got jobs that they gotta be able to read. They gotta be able to think. The sad part about it is the what have been produced out here. These folks can't get those jobs. Those manufacturing jobs, they can't get them jobs. So if they already set up for failure, they can't get those jobs.
Well, see, this is why. So this is why. Okay, how can I phrase this? So it's why I'm for when we say schools need more money. Where are the apprenticeships in these schools? Where are the trades?
The way they at? They don't want to put it in the school. Come on, man. You got $375,000 in the classroom and the class don't got books?
They don't got books, right?
You don't need no more money. You don't need no more money.
Saying, but when we ask that question about the training, unless the training comes, some kids are never going to go to college. They're not made for college. They're just not going to go. In fact, a lot of them don't need to go. But they're not going to trade school either. And so where do these employers with these, and I'm talking about the Michaels campaign. Michaels is paying some of his employees $175, $125 an hour.
Okay. Now, to get that money, you got to either read a blueprint or read a ruler.
Exactly.
Okay, but
read a schematic.
But if you don't know how to do that, how you going to get that money? somebody said you have the education, but the pay rate is not right either. You got some jobs that is, and she's right. You got jobs out there that don't want to pay. You got construction that is willing to pay. But if if a person don't know how to read a blueprint, if a person doesn't know how, have no kind of training to be qualified for those jobs that's paying $100 an hour, and or even $25 an hour. You have to understand these people got to be qualified for these positions. And if they're not getting that right now, and there's nothing there that giving them an opportunity to learn that, because you look at the education system. Look, we had shop class. A lot of places don't have shop class. They had home ec, right? There's a lot of places don't have home ec anymore. So when you look at it, you got some that might do IT, some that might not do IT. So you got to look at it. Where is they going to get it from? If they're not going to get it from school, they don't even got guidance counselors in school.
Right. Right.
She says, I have an associate degree in education, but the pay is not livable for a mom of 5. So they can be educated, and the money they're not giving up the money. So people are going to have to go back to school and go get another piece of paper just to get a decent paying job. So so when you start to look at that for what it really is, right? You have to understand that a individual has to want to. They gotta want it first of all, but then you got all these programs out here. You got workforce development. They're not teaching these people what they need to go get these great jobs. I know that because I'm in that field. I help people get jobs, and I see some of the resumes that come from some of these workforce development organizations. They're not preparing them for it.
Oh, I agree.
Oh, and she says this: to further your education, then you putting yourself in debt with student loans. I mean, so you have to look at it. We have to open doors for them to better their lives. You have to have like the Michaels Company and Boat Construction and the rest of them partner with schools so they can and I know they're doing it because the Construction. My grandson was an intern this summer for them working at Children's Hospital. Because every kid, you're right, every kid is not designed for college. So they're not going to go to college, but they should be able to get a trade. But you can't get a trade if you can't read.
Yeah. And so there we go again with No Child Left Behind, where they just punch a.
But not only No Child Left Behind, Common Core the same way.
Again, well, that's what I was trying to say. It's Common Core. Pushing these children by. Just allowing them to go by just because, and they can't read and they can't keep up in society. And then you get them to the point. Well, see, that's how you get them ready for prison. That's how you get them ready for prison. So they've got a lack of education. They've got a lack of skills to get the jobs that can provide. You put society where it's an inflationary, you put that, those are some of the 3 factors. You get that lack of education, you get the empathy, you get that pushes, like I said earlier, a pushing crime. I'm not educated. Stuff costs too much. I can't get a good job to pay for it. I'm about to go steal something. When you get prices up like this and people, it can inflate crime as well. Because people tend, I can't afford this. I don't make enough. I'm okay, fine. I'm gonna get it one way or the other. So when we control and keep, and we're doing fine. We $5 billion over the budget surplus of Wisconsin. We're doing pretty good.
See, you right there. It ain't got nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do. See, the problem is we're so focused on money that we're not paying attention to the problem. The problem is we're setting these kids up for failure. The problem is we're not dealing with families the way they need to be dealt with. The problem is we're not preparing anybody, the children, to be the next leaders. We're not doing those things. See, you can talk about money. Money is not the, listen, money, if money will just magnify the problem. So if, for example, if you stingy and we give you $1 billion, that just make you more stingy. That don't change you to not be stingy. That's going to make you even more. If you're generous with a little money and you get $1 billion, you're going to give out a lot of money. You know, it's just because money doesn't define you. Money just show you who you really are. And so when we're talking about, well, we have a surplus. What is that surplus doing for crime? What is that surplus doing for education? What is that surplus doing for teaching our children to be abstinent until they get married? What is that surplus doing for the average lifestyle and the average family that is struggling today? What is those surplus doing?
It probably won't do anything in the hand of a man without vision. It probably won't do anything with a man that has passion.
How can a man have a vision when he has no education to know where he want to go?
How can you're saying how can a man have?
How can a man? See, the Bible says it this way. And since you wanted to use the Bible says, my people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. Knowledge is information. So if you keep the information away from the people, how they going to have a vision? If you keep information away, education is information, because education is knowledge. Knowledge is information. Understanding is comprehension of the information that I got, and wisdom is application to it. So if I'm keeping the information away from the people, away from the children, away from the young man, away from the young woman, if I'm keeping the information from them, how are they going to be successful in anything? Because knowledge is information. So if I'm keeping,
so then we have to have I seemingly we're talking about a group of people who are holding people down who have the money. You're talking about people who are already doing this, correct?
I'm talking about both sides of the aisle, Republican, Democrats. When the people are not getting the information, the knowledge on how can I keep up with the inflation? How can I get a better job? If I don't have the information to prepare me for a better paying job, if I don't have the information, which is the knowledge now, to go into construction, if I don't have the information on how to read a blueprint, if I don't have the information to how to read a ruler, how am I going to get a better paying job to keep up with inflation? If I don't have the knowledge, the information, if the information is kept away, you can talk surplus all you want. Go to the average person and talk surplus. They don't know what a surplus is. They don't know what the surplus is, because you know why? Because the surplus doesn't bless their family. A surplus doesn't help the average family that's struggling. Like she said, she has a associate degree, but the income that's coming in with the knowledge that she has won't let her feed her and her 5 children. So what that surplus going to do for her? Nothing.
But can I ask you something? And I don't mean to bring this lady in, but we talk about the knowledge. How long does it take a person to get to knowledge? After 1 child, 2 children, 3 children? I can't. Hold on, bro, because I let you call. And I'm not knocking her, But after 5 children, we get to the point that we understand we ain't got enough money to feed them or enough education.
No.
Then that point, so at some point, where somebody is not self-accountable.
No, that's not true. No. That's not true. That's not true. Because what you saying?
Situation.
No. What you're saying is this woman, and I know her dearly, is a hardworking mother. Okay. She's a hardworking mother. She has the information, but the pay scale in that information or in that arena, in that career, is not paying enough. But you're sitting here talking about a surplus that is not benefiting the average family. That's what I'm talking about.
Let me explain something to you. Hold on. Yes, it is. Hold on. Let me explain this. See, because we're saying, listen, I believe I heard this out of your own mouth, your own quote. You may not do politics, but politics do you.
No, that ain't come out of my mouth.
That's your quote. Your quote.
That's not my quote, sir. That's not okay. That's not my quote. What my quote is this. The people has to take back the authority and the power that was given to them by God, not man. And so when you look at the elected official, and you look at what they deal with on a daily basis, they're not in tune with the average family. You can't sit here and tell me that the politician with the surplus is sending that money into families. That surplus is not doing anything for the average family that's trying to survive on a daily basis. When you're talking about a mother who has 5 children and taking care of her 5 children and everything. My daughter raised 4, and she went to school full time and ended up with a master's degree. But if the finance is not there in that career like it ought to be, so they can take care of them, then talking about a surplus is not doing anything. If the people doesn't have if the people don't have the information to get down, so you're talking about a surplus.
Let me ask you this question. Part of the information then is that I cannot have more children than I can afford to take care of.
Come on.
What about that? Hold on, because you're saying information as in the information of the fiscal. What about personal? I'm at home. I got 1 can of beans. It's hard to feed this baby for 12 months. I'm going into a next month, have another baby. I'm going into a next cycle and have another child. I'm going into a next cycle and have another child. And you saying that just because I don't make enough money, well, at some point, you should have commiserated having that education more than having those childs, and it would have been commensurate.
But they got it. But the point,
I'm not saying she's not a hard-working lady. I'm not saying she's not.
The point.
I'm saying
what you're missing is this: they got the education. The money is not there. The money.
No, what I'm saying that she got the education in the wrong field.
Okay, so she got the education. So she should be punished because she got the education in the wrong field. But you got folks. Okay,
Who's punishing her? Who's punishing her? Who's punishing her? In fact, we punish kids when we bring them into the world and can't take care of them. We punish children when we can't give them proper. When we got one parent. Hold on, man of God. If I'm one parent having 5 siblings, 5 children by myself, obviously I know child one didn't have enough.
First of all, she's a married woman. First of all, see, you just went straight judge. You went straight judge.
No, you didn't tell me that at the beginning.
I shouldn't have to tell you that. No. Wait, I did not say she was a single woman. We never said she was a single woman. We never said that. You assume because she has 5 kids that she was single. That's what politicians do because they're not connected. First of all, wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute.
You know what I'm for? I was supposed to be a guest on your show, and you were supposed to be asking me some questions from the people.
But
I did not know that we would sit here
but
and
you,
be going back. We can do this off. We can do
no,
this
no,
with me and
no.
you
But
sitting
no,
over a
no,
cup of
no.
coffee.
Because here's the thing that
It's 11 o'clock at night.
this is what this show does. But when you and her statement to you is, I can't afford all my kids personally. I went to school to further my education. I'm a business owner. See, you went out and just took them 5 kids and made her to be a single mom. That's what you did. You didn't know. Wait, Greg. Wait.
No, I've been waiting. I haven't got a word in edgewise.
I know.
Okay, so that's the accusation. Then let me bear my own burden of proof. You must let me bear my own burden of proof. That's the accusation. Now let me speak and offer my own burden of proof against that, to refute that. No, I didn't. I assumed, because she kept saying, I've got 5 kids. I've done this. She didn't include my husband and I.
She shouldn't have to. She shouldn't have to.
So how would anybody infer that she was married?
No. Why would you? No. Why would you order? See, that's one of the problems that we have with elected officials. You automatically.
Well, I'm not elected yet. Brother. I'm not elected.
But you automatically. But then,
hold on. Well, brother, then what I'm saying is, now you're making me guilty for a group of people that I haven't even got sworn. I'm not an elected official. I'm just a regular guy like you.
Okay.
So if you're saying you're having a problem with elected officials, you're on the call with the wrong person.
Okay.
Let
me
I'm a candidate.
Okay. Let me change that then. Then the problem that we have is even candidates that assume, because the only. And this is how. Wait a minute. But this is how.
Let's move on.
Okay, but I gotta address this last part. Then we can move on.
That's not even the biggest thing. Okay, I apologize, lady. You're married. You're happily married. I don't understand why I don't understand the whole situation. So perhaps I shouldn't get into that, because there are some things that I'm not going to be privy to, her personal life. So I don't want to talk about her personal life, because I think you're right. It's unfair because.
Okay, I don't know what happened to his phone, but see, this is the problem that we have. We have people that's running for office that are not, they automatically thinking, because Black mother of 5, that they got to be single. He didn't know that she's married. He didn't know she was a business owner. He didn't even know. He just assumed. And this is why we are in the condition that we're in, because they automatically assume that the negativity. And yep, that's what it was. He automatically assumed a mother of 5 and say you couldn't afford to take care of your kids. You didn't say nothing about you couldn't take care of your kids. You didn't say anything. He just assumed. And this is why we in this mess that we in. They always want to talk about taxes and wasteful spending, but they never want to address the real issue. So he's talking about a surplus. Okay, you got a surplus, but what is that surplus doing for the average person? It's not doing anything. And to automatically assume that you were single, automatically assume that you were struggling with 5 kids, and he thinking you struggling. See, this is the problem that we have. This is why we have to hold every elected official accountable. This is why we have to make sure that every elected official stand up for what we believe in and not what they're trying to believe in. This is why you got to vote the individual and not even a party. That's why I said earlier, I am voting for Tim Michels for governor, but I'm also voting for Neil for Secretary of State, and he's a libertarian, because I vote individuals and not a person. Wait a minute. Greg, call that other number.
Hey, man, I'm not calling this show to argue with you, man. I'm not calling.
No, you. Dude, listen, 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 this, listen, listen. That is an issue, dude. We're talking about listen, they don't. They talking about the budget is not an issue. Oh, see, I'm gonna call you when I get off the show. I'll call you when I get off the show. Whew. I know he definitely do, but the thing about it is, when people want to know about everyday life, they want to know issues, they want to know what you're going to do for them as a person. And, and so I know Nikki, I don't understand why he went that route. I'll give him a call and deal with him on it in a little while. But the thing about it is, candidates, and I'm going to keep inviting them on when they call me. I'm going to keep inviting them on and put them on. And if they can't talk to us about the issues of life, then we need to think twice. But, I believe that every candidate should be able to answer questions that deal with everyday life. Yeah, so, but, we just gotta, wow. Think about it, Tuesday almost went 3 hours. So let me see. Call me in the morning, niece. I want to talk to you about some things. So I need you to call me in the morning. You guys, this has been a very interesting Think About It Tuesday. Very interesting Think About It Tuesday. So we love you too, niece. Love you. So we're going to call it a night. We thank everybody for being on with us. Yeah, it's been a very, very interesting Think About It Tuesday. We'll see y'all Friday night for the constitutional teaching, along with you too, Russ. You too. Along with the constitutional queen and her partner, Amber, will be on with us. And so we thank God for each and every one of you guys. And we hope to see you guys real soon.
We got the keys to the kingdom. We gonna unlock the things from the Lord. We got the keys to the kingdom. We gonna unlock the things from the Lord. There's joy in the kingdom. Hey, I know it is. There's peace in the kingdom. Hey, yes it is. We got the keys to the kingdom. Yes we do, I know we do. We gonna unlock the things from the Lord. We got the keys to the kingdom. Yes we do, I know we do. We gonna unlock the things from the Lord. you're going through. Jesus got the keys for you. You can bind things on earth, it shall be bound in heaven. You can lose things on earth, it shall be loose in heaven. We will. We got the keys to the kingdom. Yes, we do. I know we're gonna unlock the things from the Lord. Ever you got the keys to the kingdom. Ever you we're gonna unlock the things from the Lord. Keys to the kingdom. He had them for me and you. Keys to the kingdom.